huge impact on me with what I was doing in the footy industry, because I spent 10 years working in the AFL, multiple clubs, travelled all around the country, loved it. It was my biggest passion, still is my biggest passion. I love my footy. And I was working for Carlton at the time in Melbourne, and you obviously know what took place in Melbourne with COVID. It was all pretty much locked up, and you don't get too much access into anything else for that period. So I chose to run away at the minute it kind of hit in Melbourne, and I actually went back to Perth, and that's where I was previously. And working in Perth was good, and I kind of could have stayed in Perth, but I thought, it might be best to get back home, given COVID's weird and everything's strange. And kind of parked Melbourne, parked Perth, and then gone, all right, now I'm here on the Gold Coast, what am I going to do? They said at Carlton, come back if you want to work for us, and I said no. And then it was the case of going, all right, well, if you're going to forego that opportunity and that passion that you've had for 10 years, what is it that you're going to get into? And I thought about everything. I thought about the way the world was working at the minute, and what it would be in the future. And I thought that e-commerce and selling online, would be something that a lot more people would do from a few years ago even. It's already growing, but I think COVID's just accelerated it. So I kind of was aware that might be a good angle to go down. But I had no experience in it either. So I was always kind of like, what do I do? How do I do it? I knew eBay was a huge platform, 20 years of experience, people buying and selling on there. And my previous background in the footy industry was sales. So I'd always worked in the selling environment. I love sales. I get the numbers side of things. It's a skill set for mine. So I sort of combined the two, and I realized if I'm going to be selling shoes and clothes and stuff like that on eBay to make a profit, I'm not really getting that presentation side of things where I'm actually, helping people and communicating with people. I'm going to be very isolated. So that's where the YouTube side of things came into it as well. And from day one, with no experience, I turned the camera on and I shot my first video, which was terrible. I don't recommend you watch it. But it was basically me just documenting my first couple of sales that I made on eBay to try and help somebody else out there make a few sales on eBay themselves. And that's kind of evolved over 2 years. I think the viewers that are watching me appreciate that they're getting the information, but they're also kind of disappointed in the sense that it is kind of giving away the secrets to everybody else as well. And they look at it from themselves, but they also look at it on me. Like, why would I turn the camera on and give away my secrets for free? But what I've come to realize over the last 2 years is that I can tell you absolutely everything, but it actually comes down to putting in the work and going out and doing all the secrets that I tell you. I can tell you everything from A to B, and I kind of try to tell you everything from A to B about how to sell on eBay through just simply documenting where I'm at on my journey. But I know in the background that I'm not really while I am giving some really useful information and people are taking it on board, they're not necessarily putting it into action. I'd love them to. I would love everybody to make a heap of money, and a lot of people do make a heap of money selling on eBay. And I'll get really nice messages from people that say that they implemented what I said. But I'm speaking to such a large audience, a few thousand odd people every single video, and I know that there's only a small percentage of people actually doing it. So everyone's fearing that the secret's being given away. They are. People just aren't doing anything about it. Yeah, when I first started selling, it was actually on Facebook Marketplace. That's kind of was my entry into it. It was the fear of the fees that eBay have, and I actually realized really quickly on Facebook Marketplace that it is very unique and it's very different actually to eBay. My whole sales model has changed, and on Facebook it was actually furniture. I'd go out and I'd buy big bulky items. I'd buy a van so I could transport it, and I'd bring it back home. I'd give it a really good clean and I'd list it, and I would sell it within 48 hours. We're talking like 2-day sell-through rates back on the platform of Facebook. So it was Facebook to Facebook selling. Which people on the channel, when I documented that, they thought, how are you getting away with listing it on Facebook and selling it on Facebook? But with new photos that you produce and different title and everything like that, I've never had anyone come back at me and say, hey, that was mine, you're trying to profit on me. So I was able to continue to do that, and I actually, like anything, I got to know the product really well, and I knew what I could buy and how much I could sell it for, and then it was just automatic. Then I just have to see the listing and I'd buy it for $50, and there was one item, a really nice cabinet that it was the Silverwood range, and you can find them in all the major furniture stores, and you could also see how much they're worth. And I knew that this Silverwood range was really popular, and the cabinet that I had on Facebook Marketplace available to me for $100 was like a $1,000 cabinet. So I knew that the difference there was huge, the margin was massive, And I ended up selling it within, again, 48 hours for $600. So buying it, cleaning it, new photos at home. Yes, there's some logistics there to try and put it into the van and bring it back to your place. And you need an extra helping hand. You can't do it yourself. But there was $500, like a huge amount of money, like cash money. And that just got me really excited. So I kept doing it. The standard flip was always 50 into 150, and you make $100, which you just don't get on eBay. eBay's more, at least with my model, it's more you're buying a $5 thrift store item and you're selling it for $25. Yeah. You're taking a profit of $7 to $8. It's nothing huge, but Facebook Marketplace, boom, you've just suddenly got 15 sales on eBay worth in that one piece of furniture, and the turnaround was 2 days. So it's that was probably my biggest and my best. I think the perception is that YouTube is quick. To churn out 3 videos a week, it's actually only 30 minutes worth of content. That mustn't take you too long, but it's actually a huge, as you would know yourself, a huge amount of time that goes into it. And also too, for me, it's on both sides of the fence, YouTube and eBay. I'm learning both of them from scratch. I've got no prior experience in either. So my first 12 months, I was doing 70 to 80 hour work weeks, but the efficiencies of the actual job was very slow because I was learning plus working. 80-hour work weeks is now condensed down to maybe a 60-hour work week, I would say. There's still a lot of hours because it's just me, sole trader, one-man band, doing everything. 60 hours a week gets it done, and that's spread across every single day of the week as well. So it's a real 7-day process, which I don't want it to be moving forward. I really want to try and condense it into 5 days and just be a full-time job. But I understand that I'm working for myself, and that's just unfortunately not the case when you try to run your own business. So I would say the time split is 50-50. So eBay is probably about 30 hours a week, going out sourcing items, bringing it back home, cleaning and preparing the item for listings, then listing the item up, and then hopefully having it go on to sell and then putting it through the shipping process to get it out to the post office to send it off. That is an everyday process. There's tasks allocated throughout the week to get that whole process done. But that would probably allocate 30 hours worth of my work, and the other 30 hours would be to try and create those 2 to 3 videos a week by filming what that was and then going back and sitting there for edits, which might take 5 or 6 hours for a video, and then uploading it. And then also to messaging. I'm really adamant about messaging back every single person. I think we spoke on Instagram, and I made sure that I messaged back. Because YouTube is a community. You're trying to build a community, connect with people. We've met through YouTube and Instagram, so I'm very adamant about that, but that's also a time factor. There's a lot of time that goes into it. It doesn't seem like too much work, but 30 hours worth of work to make a couple of videos on YouTube. I'm a massive sports guy. You can see the Steelers hat that I'm wearing now. Huge sports fan, working in the AFL for 10 years as well. There's a lot of AFL players. Back when I was a kid, Jonathan Brown for the Brisbane Lions, Nick Riewoldt, St Kilda. Just a big, tall forward. When I played football, I was a big, tall forward in a sense for my team. So I'd go to games, so I'd just watch them just run. And their power and their strength was the fact that they could run their opponents off the ground for 15 kilometres per game. So I actually found myself fall into a passion of distance running just because I knew to be a good AFL player and following the likes of a Jonathan Brown or a Nick Riewoldt, you need the volume of cardio. And I got into half marathons and marathons just because I started to love it. But it was through their influence that put me down that path, and I'm still doing it today. But present day, today, right now, who's motivating me? It's still sports stars. And unfortunately, Kobe Bryant obviously passing away. There's so much motivational stuff out there around Kobe Bryant, still to this day, just content based on YouTube, that you can just listen to his interviews about his work rate and his work ethic. And then current day still around is Conor McGregor. Huge Conor McGregor fan. Just love the way he goes about it. He's just complete confidence, does not care what anybody thinks, and he just goes really hard at just trying to be the best. And also the fact that he knew that he was going to be the best before anyone else did. And his story early days was, quitting his job, getting into the gym, training in martial arts, and becoming the best, and because he simply believed it. So I think for me, going into business, working for myself for the first time, being my own boss, Conor McGregor with his sort of background of, I think I can do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to show you how to do it. and then actually to do it is a huge motivation for me.
Just get our timing right today. Everyone's got their different niches, I guess, right? It all sells. It's got to be what you're interested in, I suppose. Yeah.
But to me, it's...
You're not thinking about what are you doing in 5 years. But funnily enough, 2 years has gone by. I'm still here making videos, and the videos haven't really changed too much because my thesis or my model about how I'm making my content is just to document where I'm at. I just recently bought a place and I documented the buying of the place, and that's a new chapter that has just simply evolved. So where does the business go? Where does the influence of a YouTube channel go in 5 years' time? Who knows? But I can assure you that whatever it will be is what I'll be documenting. That's really, I think, all it's going to be. Because I think people with YouTube's such a, people are really attached to you as the creator. And I've always known that. It's different to a TV show, because a TV show you don't get that interaction, that one-on-one. But that connection with the audience is so personal on YouTube that if you just simply show your journey and where you're currently at, regardless of what level you're at. I knew this before I'd even started on eBay, but I knew that other people could appreciate that they're probably in the same position, that relatability factor. So I knew that I could turn the camera on, fumble my way through it, and people would still appreciate that. So I just think in 5 years' time, I'll still be documenting, but hopefully everything's grown to a point where I can allow it to be bigger and better content because of where I've been able to get myself at. In the days of sort of battling and struggling and only making a few dollars, and documenting that journey can be a thing of the past.
Finding anything with that gel, see the gel on the bottom sole there? That means that it's just a good high-end shoe. They would have been about $250 brand new, but the wear, again, on these soles are just slightly worn, so I'm gonna have to put them back.
Experience of just simply going out there day after day and just learning. So eBay has a really cool app that allows you to go in and search for a filtered sold item. So whatever that item is that you have access to, it's likely sold on eBay previously. And you can do a search right there in store, at the flea market, wherever you might be sourcing your items, and you can see what in the last 90 days that price was. And if you're looking at that item for $2 and you're seeing it on eBay selling for $30, you know, even with fees and postage, that you're probably going to be able to make a sale on it. Now, over time, you start to learn more a little bit about, sell-through rates and how quickly you can get that sale to come through. A lot of the time, those are the items that you might actually pass on. If it's a profitability opportunity, the sell-through rate might be slow. And I've learned that over time to leave those items alone. But back when I was first starting out, I just had that phone and that app, and I would just sort of try and search. You can type it in what you've got, or you can barcode search. And I just sort of evolve, what I found. So if it was a shoe, the shoe knowledge grew because I knew that was a good category to play in. What shoes sell? Is it the running shoes or is it the dress shoes? What are people actually buying on eBay? And that was just through trial and error. I bought every single shoe out there, and then I realized that the running shoes are actually the ones that seem to just turn over quicker. Okay, let's go out and buy running shoes. And how much can we get these shoes for? Well, I'm seeing them in op shops right now for $10. What are they selling for on average on eBay? Well, about $50 to $60. So a really good, consistent, reliable, with a good sell-through rate, there's $30 worth of profit. Let's make that a really big item that we go out for whenever we go out. Let's make that a part of the business model. But I couldn't have told you that when I first started, because you've just got to try everything. And then from there, a successful eBay store will have one or two different categories. My other category is media, so it's DVDs. And again, that was just through going, oh my goodness, this random DVD actually sells for $100, and I'm buying it in an op shop for $1. That doesn't happen all the time, but it was just an opportunity that I saw through one item that just opened up an entirely new category. And it's now my second biggest category that I sell on eBay, DVDs.
Doing this game, I just find it's better to be open and honest and tell op shop people, still tell flea market vendors, pretty much tell anybody that you're trying to buy from. Private pickers, obviously they know about it, but just be like, look, I'm trying to make some money. I want to get it at a fair price to allow you to win. I think when you're open and honest and people know why you're buying, they get then why you're buying, that you're trying to make a profit.
I think the evolution of an eBay seller is that they try everything initially. I don't think anyone should be just simply told what to go out and do, because everyone's location is different. Everyone's selling in different parts of the world, even with eBay. So you've got to see what you've got access to first. And whatever you've got access to, buy it. If you're a new seller, just grab it, see if it works, see if it sells, see if you can make a good dollar on it, and then continue to buy what is actually moving for you. So I think initially you should just buy everything, but then over time, you'll, like I did with the DVDs and the shoes, you'll kind of narrow into a certain category that just simply works for you, based on what's out there in your environment. And Patreon is really good for community building, but I'm just so, I just love YouTube and I want to keep my community on YouTube. A lot of people said, why don't you start a Patreon and put people in there and build a community in that? But I've just never, I've just never wanted to get away from the community that I've built over 2 years on YouTube. So that'll probably remain, but from other selling platforms, I just don't think there's as many eyes on places like Gumtree. Facebook Marketplace there is, but I don't really do that anymore because a bit like YouTube, I also love eBay. And you also need to put so much time into those platforms for those platforms to be successful. So much so that I then don't have any other time for any other platform. But I do know that both of those that I'm working on actually work as well. So yeah, I probably should, from just an experimental sense, just go out and test the waters in different platforms. But yeah, I'm just so dogged on trying to grow the two that I've got that I just don't have time for anything else. Part of the documentation of my journey is that I will be looking to travel a whole lot more. I'm going to Melbourne. In my recent video, I announced that I'm just going to be in Melbourne for a pop-up. Because of that community element of YouTube that I spoke of, I just want to connect face to face rather than just through a computer screen with the people that watch me. Because I know that I'm helping people out there and there is that element of connection, but we don't get the opportunity too often to be able to just sit across from each other and just talk about what we do. It's a very isolating role, reselling. You just do it by yourself. You go out and find the item by yourself. You want to push away the competition so that you find the item and they don't. So you're really kind of pushing people away. But I want to get out there and actually meet everyone. So I want to do interstate trips and also that opportunity as well is to be able to find items in different places.
Size medium. It's in pretty good nick. I haven't seen a lot of Nixon before, but I know it's a good brand. Consider buying it. $10 is probably the most you'd want to pay.
So I went to, collaborate with other resellers that had YouTube channels because I knew that was going to be a really good way to grow my own channel. And I was actually able to connect with Hairy Tornado, which is probably one of the most viewed channels in our niche of reselling globally. I don't think there's a bigger channel anywhere else in the world. And I went with a bit of a Hail Mary play and I shot him a message. He doesn't know me and I just watch his videos and I'm like, how cool would it be to feature in his video? And I shot him a message. I don't think he took it seriously at first, and then 2 months later I sent him another message and I guess he kind of realised that I was a little bit more serious. And he said, look, if you want to do it, if you want to come all the way to South Carolina just to make a video at a flea market and buy some stuff, you'd be more than welcome to come over. And I did. I flew from the Gold Coast to South Carolina and I spent an entire weekend, Memorial Day weekend over in the US, which is a pretty big weekend for people going away and travelling. And Josh and his wife Hayley, they stayed put. They stayed in South Carolina and they took me out to the flea market. I thought that was all it was going to be. I was thrilled to make a video with them and they also made a video about me and that went on their channel. Got 100,000 views. And in one day, my biggest ever day of subscriber growth was 80 subscribers in a day. That one video from them I got 1,000 subscribers. I just sat there refreshing my computer. All these people, Matt, I've just seen you on Hairy Tornado's channel. You seem like you're really cool, and you got I'm like, this is the reason I went over, was to try and build that connection and build that community that I've got on YouTube. So they were incredibly nice. They gave me their entire weekend. We went bowling, we went out for dinner, lunch, breakfast, everything. They were so accommodating, and I was also able to connect with a few others and just buy really cool stuff that I personally really enjoy, the US sports stuff, Kobe Bryant jerseys and all this sort of thing that's in abundance over there. That we actually also really want here in Australia, but we don't get access to it. So to be able to go over there and pick it at a pretty cheap price because it is so mass produced and then bring it back home. I spent $1,400 Australian and I've already sold it. I've still got 40 items to sell. Bought about 120 items. I think they've got on sale for about $5,000 so far. And I've still got those items still to sell. So it's only going to continue to go up. So it was just a successful trip. And I think there's a huge element of continuing to grow the YouTube channel from doing those sorts of things. And also from an eBay front. I can put it onto eBay and make money and grow my eBay store too. So travel's a huge element. I could probably turn them around for about $50. I could search them up here if I wanted to. They're the Gel Lethal Touch Pro 4. So it's a pretty easy search as well. But then condition, there's a bit of peel
bit of peel there. So based on condition, I've got to put them back. So that you do have to try and tick yourself on a few different boxes.
It's a lot harder than you think it's going to be, is what I would say. I was maybe a little bit naive into the growth and the grind, just the way that it is. It's a YouTube channel. You can pop off on TikTok. I've seen people just put a video out and then it's organically the reach and the demand for people on TikTok is there. YouTube though, not so much. It's across the board. All channels, anyone that's got a YouTube channel is going to tell you that it is an absolute grind. You've got to have a passion for making videos and having nobody watch you, because that is what it's going to be for a very long time, and you're not going to get paid for it. So if you're happy with that, you can survive on YouTube. And I probably thought, I'll put up with that for a little bit, but eventually things were, I'm going to really grind at this. I'm going to be doing 3 videos a week. That's what they tell me gets you to have a sizable channel. But it just wasn't the case. It was 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and I've been doing it now for 2 years. And really, I got back from America maybe 2 months ago. I've had 4,000 subscribers come in the last 2 months from that America trip. But if you take it back for the last year and 10 months, I had 7,000 subscribers, and I was working 30 hours a week every single week, and I only had 7,000 subscribers, which it really is quite small for that much work and output. So yeah, my younger self, it would be, I'm glad you're still here, grinding away and doing it, because you do want to do it, and it's important not to give up, but probably just maybe be aware, because I'm always trying to push it and try and get there quicker, and patience is incredibly important. And I probably would have put that into place a bit sooner if I'd known.